Hello everyone, welcome back to Open Line. We are talking all about education. We have with us the Commissioner for the Tennessee Department of Education, Dr. Penny Schwinn. She is on Zoom. Very happy to have her. She's answering all kinds of questions, and people have a ton of questions about education as so many schools, all schools in Tennessee, are closed. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Barbara. Hello, Barbara. Go right ahead.
Okay, I am a grandmother that is now just recently taking care of a second grade. My grandson's in second grade. I have internet, however I don't have printer and access, as well as at my age trying to raise a second grader is a whole different experience.
Right.
My concern is the time that he has missed and his education, and then not going back to the 24th of April now, and maybe they may not go back then. What happens to him losing the education that he's losing, going into, will they pass him? Will he have, is the school year be extended? What happens to him, like when he goes to third grade? Is he going to be left behind? Or what happens in all this process?
Okay, thank you, Barbara. I'm just going to let you answer that, Dr. Schwinn.
Yeah, Barbara, I appreciate that question. I have a second grader at home myself, and we're having those same conversations as a family. And I can understand it's especially challenging when you think about all of that time missed. One of the things that we are doing, and there's a couple of things at the state level to address the concerns around all of the printing and logistics of trying to ensure that that there is some academic support that is at home. We are going to be working closely with districts to have that instruction, as I said, with PBS on the television as well as online, and supporting districts like Shelby County. And there are a number of districts who are doing this, that are sending homework help and homework packets actually with meals at home. We have districts who are partnering with local law enforcement to deliver that work directly door to door to families, especially as we have grandparents and aunts and uncles who need to be safer at home. And so we are hoping that more districts take advantage of those creative solutions, and that then students can use the homework help hotline to be able to work through that. Now, that doesn't get to the amount of lost time, and certainly being able to put together a plan, and the department will have that schedule that you would be able to use to figure out, here's how we can spend time productively through the day in a way that's self-guided by students and children at home. It doesn't actually make up for the really quality instructional time that's happening in the classroom. Nothing replaces that teacher and the students that he or she is working with every day. So one of the things is districts will have to decide at a local level about whether or not students will be promoted. Given that this is statewide, we're really focusing on students being promoted next year, and then what additional remediation or additional support or additional time will be necessary as we move into next school year. It is unlikely that districts are going to be extending the school year this year. No money was allocated for that, and we really don't know what the length of this virus is going to be. And so as a state, we're working with districts to start to think about next calendar year, and how do we increase the number of minutes and additional support so that students don't fall behind. My daughter, your grandson, all of the students, 975,000 of them across the state, deserve to have those minutes replaced and deserve to have the same high quality education that they would have had otherwise. So we're working on resources now, but we're also planning for the future. Hang in there. I know it's hard. We'll make sure that we do right by all of our kids.
Barbara, thank you for that question. Lots of people thinking that. Let's go to Lindsay. Hello, Lindsay.
Yes, hello.
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Schwinn, for taking my phone call. I'm an educator here in Tennessee, and first I want to say to the parents and their concerns that we are just as concerned, and we miss our kids and want to be in the classroom right now. And so I know parents have a lot of questions and concerns, but I know educators, certified and non-certified staff, have some questions for you as well. How does this affect our benefits and our pay going forward with all this time lost?
Yes, call from a teacher.
Sure.
Okay, Lindsay, thank you.
Lindsay, thanks. That's a great question. And we've gotten that question from a number of superintendents. We have a 3 times a week call with them. In terms of staffing, salaries, pay, things like that, those are based on your local contracts and local agreements that you have with your district. Right now, and for the rest of this school year, the state funding that goes to our public schools remains consistent. So schools will get the same amount of funding for the rest of the year as was already planned. There's going to be no reduction in funding for that space. What we are encouraging is creativity around work that can happen in alternative spaces, as you've discussed and as teachers discuss with their principals and district leaders. But for this year, it really is based on local contracts and agreements. And we're working with different districts to figure out what that means for them and how to support teachers at the local level. I know, and I remember not just being a teacher, but my favorite part of this job is being in classrooms and getting to see the incredible work that you all do every day with our kids. It is especially hard when we have to go weeks and weeks without seeing them. And so first and foremost, I appreciate your commitment to your students, how much you're thinking about them. I share how much we miss them. My daughter misses her teacher very, very much, but certainly as it relates to teacher compensation, that is a local agreement, and we are working with the state board on what some of those other policies will look like going into next year. But I appreciate the question, and we're absolutely keeping that front of mind. It's critical for the thousands and thousands of educators we have across the state. It's
a board decision, but because the state is going to continue to fund, there's no reason a board would say we're not getting the money we once were. Isn't that right? I mean, the state's going to continue to fund it at the level it would have anyway.
Yeah, the state is not reducing funding to the BEP, which is the funding formula. We have a staffing toolkit on our website, and that helps districts walk through that local decision-making process. Thinking about alternative work that we can do for our hourly employees. We certainly have a number of paraprofessionals as well as educators, and we want to make sure that there are opportunities for everybody to continue to participate in our school communities and in a different way. And so it is a local decision, but the state funding will not decrease for the remainder of this school year.
Let's go to Stacy. Hello, Stacy.
Yes, I'm here.
Go right ahead.
Hey, how y'all doing? This is Stacy. I was trying to see, were they going to repeat the same grade, or are they going to move them forward to the 11th grade or the 12th grade?
Right. Okay. I mean, I think this is a big question because it's come up a couple times, but it's obviously very important. So will they repeat the same grade, or will they just move on? Again, that's the question.
Yeah, Stacy, I appreciate that. So as of right now, that will be a district and school-based decision. Given how many students are out of school, and this is statewide, weeks and weeks of students missing school, our anticipation and what we are planning for is that children will progress to the next grade. We are focused as a state on what to do next year so that students who have missed instruction this year, minutes of instruction, that we will be able to remediate and support them when they start school next year. Again, those are local decisions. That would be a conversation between you, your child's teacher, principal, and district. But we are planning as a state agency for a significant number of students moving to the next grade who will need additional support, whether that's more minutes, more days, or more remediation because of the instructional time missed this year. So we're trying to provide what that will look like over the next several months so that we can try to ensure that there is academic continuity over the next few months, but certainly are really thinking down the road about what next year will look like. So I'll say the same thing around just hang in there, do what you can for your child. Please use our website and resources available to keep them sharp on the skills they have mastered for this year, and know that we are going to be supporting very heavily the additional resources that will be needed for your child for next year's education.
So the expectation is if you have a third grader who is missing a bunch of school right now, when school starts in the fall, you would expect that third grader, even if they don't go back, you would expect that third grader to be a fourth grader. The goal would then be to kind of make up in the fourth grade as much as possible that they missed in the third grade. That would be the goal, the hope, right?
Yeah, they will remain local decisions. The state certainly won't mandate anything in that space, but this is the entire state missing weeks of instruction. I think it would be very challenging for us to consider an entire state that just repeats an entire year. Most of our schools start in late July, early August, and so the majority of the school year has been done at this point. We are missing a month to 2 months of instruction. And that's that really critical time that we want to think about getting back as we go into next school year. That's what we're hearing from superintendents, and that's what we frankly expect for the vast majority of students across the state.
All right, we're going to take a break. We will come back. Continue to take your calls. There's some lines open if you want to call. 615-737-PLUS. 615-737-7587. Take a break. We'll be back right after this.